What's up, y'all? Football season is back and the Cowboys look dominant, and there are many ways to watch our beloved Dallas Cowboys, but the best way to watch our Cowboys is live and in person. And the best way to get tickets to those games is on Game Time, the fastest growing ticket app in the U.S. For last minute amazing deals on tickets, see your favorite football team this September. Download Game Time. And it's not just football. Game Time has tickets to baseball games, concerts, and comedy shows all around the country. Download the Game Time app and redeem code VOCH for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, download Game Time app and enter the code VOCH. That's VOCH, VOCH for $20 off. No matter where you live, get out and have some fun this week. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. And we back, got a little bit of work today. I know it is Jets week, but I want to kind of do this thing where I tap in with some of my media and content friends. Iisha Morrison has done a little bit of both. DallasCowboys.com, Girls Talk, Boys Talk, the Draft Show, and just all over the place. You tap in with your YouTube friends and all that because you're really one of us for real. You just doing big things now because you're corporate and all that. 2I, how you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm tired. It was an emotional weekend, and then obviously just getting in the swing of the season. We got locker room today and everything, so I'm just trying to get my legs under me. But I'm doing well. Thank you for asking.
Fantastic. Now y'all got to call her Iisha or Iisha Morrison. I call her 2I, so I'm just gonna be so when I talk to her, it's gonna be like, hey, 2I, but y'all can't call that. All right, let's get into it. Hey, let me just put this down. I don't even need the notes. The Cowboys beat the shit out the Giants, Iisha. It wasn't even nice. It wasn't even close. It wasn't even. Now, I still have questions, you know what I mean? And not even like tough questions, right? Like I still want to know what my offense looks like when it's dry outside. What does a deep ball to Brandon Cooks look like and all this? How much balance is running pass going to be? So I still got questions about my offense. I think they'll be fine. But just from the Giants game, top to bottom, rooter to tutor, special teams, defense, offense in their order, they showed them smoke the shot at the Giants. What did you see?
Oh, yeah. Well, it was over early. Which is crazy. I tweeted, like, I normally don't eat during the game because I'd be like, but I went and got me a snack.
You was comfy?
Got in my blankie, was sitting there chilling. But I was, after the big hit from Trayvon Diggs on Saquon, it was dead. It was dead. Like, you could see it in Saquon's face that he didn't want to be out there no more. And honestly, he's such a big part. He should be a big part of what they do, especially with Daniel Jones, struggling how he's been struggling. Is like they should have depended more on the run. And so once I saw him get folded like a lawn chair, I said, you know what? Maybe it is time to go to the house. And he had the same look on his face, respectfully, that Christian McCaffrey had on his face in the 49ers game after Donovan Wilson filled and knocked his ass out. So from there, I was like, okay, this is impressive. And then from the offensive side of the ball, so much more that we, want to see. I was impressed with the offensive line play, Voch. I don't know about you, but for them to not play together, that unit in particular, for that long, I was really worried about the communication of the interior because Dexter Lawrence and Leonard Williams, they do a lot of stunts. Wink does a lot of like exotic things. So I figured the communication got to be on point. My nails have been through it, y'all. Please don't say anything. I was fighting for my life this weekend.
When I saw Saquon sitting on the ground with he was down, but his arms was on his knees, and he was just like this. In the rain, with the rain in the background, I was like, "Oh man!" And D-Law said it on Sides of the Sidelines. Shouts out to Sides of the Sidelines, the best Cowboys content on
Let's make him quit.
On YouTube. Yes. Hey man, one more, and we're gonna make him quit. And we saw the Giants quit, man. We just saw Saquon look defeated. We saw Waller look defeated, and we just kept piling on him. To your point about the offensive line, I think Tyron did well.
Yes.
Kratos is Kratos. We call Zach Martin Kratos here. He is who he is. Dexter Lawrence can beat up on everybody that he wants. He can beat all the double teams that he wants. But when he's versus Zach Martin, one-on-one, you lose. It is what it is. I was talking to Will Steele about this, right? Skywalker Steele, A to Z Dallas in the morning, 8:30, 10:30. Terrence Steele is becoming one of those guys that I just trust every week. When I'm watching film on the offensive line, I'll be like, all right, let's watch Tyron. Let's watch Chuma. Let's watch Tyler. And what I'll do with Zach is I'll just be doing this on my show, Patreon or whatever. I'll be like, I'm sure Zach is fine, but let's watch him. All right, he's fine.
Right.
I started doing that with Terrence a little bit, right? Oh, I'm sure Zach is fine. Cool. I'm sure Terrence is fine. And Terrence was fine. And these are versus dudes. These is versus like Ojulari that the, Giants fans were, kind of hyping up a little bit. And even when they did switch sides, Kayvon Thibodeau went over there. And Thibodeau didn't really give Terrence any problems anyway. So when Tyron Smith is like your third offensive lineman, I think you're in a good place. Plus, Tyler Smith is coming back playing guard. And I think that's going to be so important.
Very, very much so. Another thing I noticed about Terrence Steele, he didn't have on his brace. I don't know if that many people noticed that he did not have on his brace, but I thought that was important to note because, and I didn't notice it until I went back and watched film yesterday, just because, a lot of guys after those ACLs, they depend on those. It's a comfort thing, but to see him that comfortable getting out in space, lead blocking and dealing with guys without a brace on, just being that confident in his ability, it spoke to me. It said something to me.
This whole time, Kevontae Turpin was the goal line back. How do you feel about that? Who knew?
How do you feel about that, Voch?
I don't know how to feel because people think I hate Turpin, right? People think I can't stand Turpin. But, hey, Turpin is first of all, let me tell you what I like about Turpin. Every time something bad happens, Turpin jump up and do this. You know what I'm saying? And him just being little, surrounded by big people, something bad, he get up and do this. I just think that's hilarious. But if that's going to help with how we attack other teams, then so be it. I think he's going to be very important versus the Jets. I think the wide receivers are going to be important, but I think the auxiliary pass catchers is what I've been calling them. So I think Lipke may get involved. Tight ends are going to be involved. Tony, of course. But if you can find a way to mismatch Turpin on somebody that don't run that fast, I think that can just benefit you. So if he's going to be goal line back, I like how they use him. They get everybody on the move and then they just let him move with them and let him, skip all over the place. Then fine, perfect. Shouts out to Turpin. But I was fighting the notion that Turpin's going to be important for us. But would I have rather that been a player that like Deuce Vaughn or something? Would I have rather that been Rico or something? I don't know. Cool. And Rico had a good day too. So just tell us about all the running backs. Start with Turpin, but then tell us about just Rico and Tony in general.
I mean, Tony looked himself. I mean, in the few carries you got to see from him, he still looks explosive. He still hits the edges, which I think is going to be important against this Jets team. Sure. He's still able to get to the edge and turn the corner. And as far as Rico Dowdle, we didn't get to see a lot of him, but I do like his power. Yeah. I think he has pretty good vision too. But I was definitely just the few carries he got, you can see, but we've seen that from Rico though. Like his only issue again is that he's not been healthy, but there's been plenty of times we've seen him in preseason like, oh, that dude could tote that rock. Yeah. So not surprised by him. Hunter Lipke actually coming in and doing some fullback things were something I expected. And I also expected, and I still do expect that he might become your best pass pro running back that you have, because he's not afraid to do it. And also too, when he's doing fullback things, he's not going in at an angle. He's going head on with these guys, like getting into their shoulder pads. I was impressed by him. But as far as Kevontae Turpin goes, I think he's important and he's going to be important moving forward, him and Tony, just because of the motion stuff that they do, some of the pre-snap things that they do. You want to put as much tape out there on him so defenses will honor when he motions on the line of scrimmage. Is also going to give Dak more information, and I think it's going to be helpful moving forward. Yeah. That's
what I think Mike was doing towards the end of the game, like that last first drive. He was like, all right, let's put Turpin, Tolbert, and Lipke out there. All right, switch. All right, let's put Turpin, CeeDee at fullback, and Lipke at receiver and see what. All right, put Schoonmaker at quarterback. Let's see what they do. And it was just a bunch. It was just a bunch of different looks at the end. I was like, man, why didn't they just put Deuce out there and put him right back out? And just in my mind, I think Mike McCarthy is just setting the tone. Schottenheimer talked about this all offseason. And Mike McCarthy also. He said, hey, man, we got base plays. We got base philosophies, we got base motion sets, and we want to lay that foundation and we want to build upon it, and we want to put so much diversity into it that we're not just, giving it away or whatever, right? So we'll see the little motion, the little orbit motion where, CD goes from the slot to around, and we'll run a triple option off of that, or we'll run an RPO off of that, or we'll just run a little bubble off of that. He'll just run to the flats and do his thing. We saw a pick play for the first time in Cowboy history in 5 years, and it was just an easy little thing to get a first down. Don't
call it that. You can't say that word.
It was a rub route. And look, I think it was John Machota that was like, but he was like kind of talking to he was like snitching to the feds on us, man. He was like, hey, Schottenheimer, tell us about the pick play. And
They don't.
And look, Shotty like a gangster. He was like, well, when you run routes like this and the leverage dictates that and the enzymes collaborate and create a reaction. And he just talked around it. But damn, pick plays are in the NFL or rub routes. They're in the NFL and we haven't been using them. We're using them now. And I think that's going to be an advantage moving forward.
Oh, yeah. Especially, I mean, we said it all last year. You needed man beaters.
Mm-hmm.
You need man beating because a lot of teams were playing man against you because they didn't think your wide receivers could separate, which brings me to my next point.
Sure.
Have we ever seen wide receivers that open?
No.
CeeDee Lamb, I think I'm going to ask him when I see him, but I was surprised at how open he was. That's new. We talked about it all last year, just the lack of separation, and that didn't seem like a problem this past week.
Whenever we get into the Jets game, we really got to like watch this offense and be like, all right, it's dry now. What does this thing look like? I like when Mike came out, I was like, yeah, man, we changed the game plan into the wet game plan. You know what I mean? And I just love that. And I've been on social media. I just got off Bleach Report fussing about this. They're like, Voch, Dak didn't have a good game last week. I'm like, man, he didn't have to. He didn't get on the field. He didn't get on the field till what? 16 points, 19 points on the board. He didn't need to come out and do anything crazy. Hand the ball off. Don't turn the ball over like y'all say he can't stop doing like Josh Allen's doing, and play defense. And we were just fine. Go on.
I'm sorry. No, I was just saying it's weird.
Yeah,
it's weird, man. Like I just the way that I learned football and how it operates. The point of it is for it to be simple for your quarterback. And so why overcomplicate it? This is the first game of the season. Your defense is dominating. Like also too, why show your hand? Why show new plays? Why show new stuff? It's no point. It's no point. And I find it very frustrating that people are like, well, we don't know if Dak is still good.
Relax, man.
What are y'all doing?
One more thing before we move on to the Jets. I know this is not a thing right now. This is not a thing. But I think it's worth having conversation about. Your tight ends block really well. Had a fantastic day blocking. Every time I saw Schoonmaker touch anybody, I said, damn, Schoonmaker big. He beating the shit out this defensive end that's way bigger than him. It was even the three-tech. I forgot which three-tech it was. I think it was A'Shawn Robinson. Like Schoonmaker just straight up and down, boom, versus A'Shawn. I don't think Jake Ferguson's job is in jeopardy. I don't think he really drops passes. He didn't drop any last year. So I can just chalk that up to maybe it's the pressure of a first game. Maybe it's the rain. Maybe you're taking over as tight end one and you wanted to just overprove yourself. And maybe he just wasn't relaxed out there. Cool, Jake. Hendershot kind of got history of playing basketball with the football, right? So we're going to have a conversation about him. How long for you, not for me, not for them, but for you, until you look at Schoonmaker and go, Hendershot, I know we like you, but I'm about to try Schoon. I'm about to try second round pick real fast if you keep dropping passes.
Yeah, I definitely think, and it's weird. It's really weird with Hendog because if you look at his track record, even when he was at Indiana, he had the least amount of drops out of, I think, anybody in that. Like, I think he had 3 drops his whole college career. 4. So those are just concentration drops from both of them, from both of those guys. And I'm looking at, I know Hendog he's hard on himself, so I'm really hoping he can bounce back. I would say after this game with the dry, taking out, the conditions and stuff, then maybe you start having a conversation of like, hey man, what's going on? Because it's they're giving him opportunities and Dak still trusts him, but he has to capitalize. He has to capitalize. That TD that ball couldn't have been better placed, Man. It couldn't have been placed any better. So I'm really looking for him to bounce back. But to your point though, they gonna have to put on they grown man draws this week too in blocking. So I was really impressed with the way they blocked and how physical they were.
Speaking of which, did you watch the film on the Jets already?
I watched some. I watched a couple of. I watched some of their. I'm mostly focusing on their defense because, quite honestly, that's the biggest thing. Because offensively, they do have some pieces. You're looking to stop the run. They got a young quarterback, man. So they're dependent on play action, getting the ball out of his hand fast, and freaking running the ball as much as they can. And so
not enough time.
It's not a lot. Yeah, it's not a lot. I mean. Yeah. We can look at the offense, but their defense is really what comes to the party.
Okay, so let's talk about it then. Defense. Do you think hopefully, media, Iisha, what's the word on Tyler Smith? Have you heard anything about him being available for week 2? Because it's a show a good time to need him.
No, I have not. I'm gonna try to get into the building here in the next hour or so, kind of see what the team is saying or whatever. Yeah. I do, however, think that Mike McCarthy just don't play, and I think that maybe that it was just more of a precautionary thing, just because of seeing him on the course and seeing him working towards the end of the week. I just think his injury happened so late in the week that it was difficult to try to work around that. It would be nice to have him back. Yeah, it would be nice to have him back, even though I thought Chuma held his own as best as he could.
Sure. Tyron Smith is a guy, played well last week. You can tell that this is a very 2023 version of Tyron Smith, but technique is still there, strength is still there. He may not be able to move the way that he once did, but if he can grab you and you can stop moving, then that mitigates some of his loss of movement. I really like how he played, and I just really trust Terrence. I think the interior of the offensive line of our O-line versus their D-line is going to be fine. They got some dudes on the outside. I don't know if Carl Lawson's going to be playing. He had a back injury in the postseason, but he can pass rush. Jermaine can pass rush. Our guy.
I know.
Will McDonald's going to be over there. They got another character with 3 first names, John Franklin Myers. He's more of a power rusher. I ain't too worried about him because I trust Terrence. But they do have pass rushers, and I think them versus a more inferior offensive line, I do think they'll be dangerous, but I just think that we got some guys. I think they have some pretty good corners, but I like our guys. And they play a bunch of zone. 2 wide, they play a bunch of zone. And if I know anything about 4.
Cover 1, cover 3. Now when you talk about that though, their head coach is Salah.
Salah.
Salah. So, he came over from the 49ers, if I'm not mistaken. And when you look at the 49ers, a lot of what they do is stick to their base because they can rush 4 and they can just drop guys in coverage and do what they want to do. I do think that they played a little bit more man than what the Jets play. But I know that sometimes Sauce will shadow. It's not often that he will, but sometimes he will. They'll throw that in there. I really I'm asking you because I was trying to understand because I'm still new to this world. I'm not gonna act like I know everything. The way that they space out their defensive line, that's intentional, yes?
Yeah. Sometimes you want to give guys room just in case you're running gap exchanges. Also, what they do is they don't blitz, but they'll crowd the line of scrimmage and they'll misdirect you with who's actually coming. So it may be 7 guys on the line of scrimmage, but they'll only bring 4. So it's a 4-man rush. So if I'm the 3 tech and you the end, I'm giving space to the linebacker to come in and be like, hey, you just rush right there. And I may run a gap exchange with the linebacker. I may run a gap exchange with the end. I may dip out and the linebacker take my gap. So I'm giving each other space just to keep everything ambiguous, just to make it not look so obvious of what we're trying to do.
So yeah, and I noticed how wide they set up.
Sure.
Honestly, I'm not gonna lie. This is something I noticed with the Cowboys this past week. I was gonna get in there and ask because the defensive ends are lining up so wide off the line, like almost parallel with the ball.
Yep.
I assume that is to kind of clear out the way for those DTs to do the work or whatever. But I was just, it looks like they're trying to push or funnel you into their DTs, which is why I think you can attack the edges and there's going to be room there.
Very smart. And it's just like they call them a wide 9. They'll just line these ends up wide as hell. Like way in D gap. Yeah, D gap is a real thing for a lot of people didn't even know. But if they feel like they have the advantage, right? Speed advantage. And they got like Jermaine Johnson, Will McDonald, they got speed Huff, they got speedy dudes to the outside. So these wide 9 dudes are banking on the fact, and this could be a problem with Tyron Smith. If you're any kind of stiff, if you don't move very well, then those wide 9 dudes can just run past you. But if you're a good athlete, then you can kind of mitigate that. Tyron Smith, I feel like, can still move. I think he's more of his question marks come from his athleticism at the point of attack. Like, he can kick all day. But are you athletic if you try to cross his face? Are you athletic if you try to bend the angle? They might try to cut that in because Tyron and Terrence are good athletes. Whenever you watch the Jets offense, Watch Dwayne Brown and watch Becton on the other side. They slow footed as hell. So you line up. So you line up wide nine all them. You just get to run past them. That's not going to work with our tackles because they can move a little bit.
Well, yeah, and we talked about it. I mean, I think I heard you talk about it. Is Tyron's going up against Micah in practice. Yeah. So whatever. If he can handle Micah to some extent, even if he's not winning every time, I think he will be fine dealing with whatever they throw out there at him. Yeah. But no, I also think from an offensive standpoint with the Jets, I think you can see them basically do what the Cowboys did with Cooper Rush. Is they're going to depend on their defense to get the job done. I think they had 4 turnovers last week.
4.
Yeah, I mean, and to try to, to get momentum from that, I think they're going to be really conservative with their play calling and how they do things. And to me, that plays into the Cowboys' favor.
I like who we are. I think if the if Josh Allen wasn't playing hero ball, I think the Bills win that game. Josh threw 3 picks in the middle of cover 4. The first thing they teach you in football school, the first thing they teach you in coverage school is don't throw deep against cover 4 because that's built to stop deep ball, right? And he threw that mug deep right in the middle of it. Dak's not going to do that. Dak's inherently not that guy. And then he fumbled trying to run and do too much or whatever, right? So I don't think there's going to be this world where this high-powered Cowboys offense just rolls out the bed not good one day. And Dak throwing down deep balls versus cover 4. The last team that tried that was the Eagles last year, right? The Eagles tried to play this off coverage a little bit, and they just tried to rush forward like that was enough. And Dak kind of diced them dudes up. He didn't kind of do it. He diced them dudes up for 40 points, 40. I ain't saying it's gonna happen this week. I don't know because this Jets D line is kind of whatever, and the pass rush is nasty. But if Dak goes out there and tears it up, I'm going to jail. I'm gonna rip the internet up to shreds.
Which is very possible because the Eagles defensive line last year was just as crazy, and he was able to have a lot of success against them. But also too, we already know Dak thrives against zone defense, like he just does. Yeah. And with this offense and the way that it's set up now, and it being a lot more simple, one thing I noticed coming out the game, and sorry, just a tangent, but one thing I noticed coming out the game, if you go look at the Cowboys last season, you go look at the offense, they were late into the play clock often because he is at the line of scrimmage, pointing stuff out, diagnosing, changing stuff. I mean, sometimes you be sitting there like, damn, like you've been up there a long time. And that's just because he was having to do a whole bunch of work at the line of scrimmage to get them in a favorable matchup. Yeah. You see them now, they are dictating the tempo because they at the line quick. It's not this long, conversations going on and uncertainty and him having to figure everything out. So I think that's going to be important as well, especially with the Jets defense having multiple guys that they can rotate in. I expect for Dak to catch him slipping a couple of times, subbing people out.
I'm not going to lie, though, man. I'm not going to lie. The conversation was fun. You're like, come here, CeeDee, line up right here. That's the mic. Here we go. Come on, man. The conversation was dope. Now,
First of all, I think it's so funny that everyone is just now catching on to his difference in his cadence. It was after.
Like 21 or something?
It was after the first game of the season last year. I went up to him and I was like, hey, I want to say something to you about your cadence. He was like, oh, no, I can't give you all that. I was like, no. I said, I'm just saying that, that here we go. That's different. That's new.
It's dope.
And he was like, you noticed that? I said, yeah.
You can't help it. You can't help it.
But he's been doing that since last year. So it's funny to me that everyone's just like, where'd this come from? I'm like, he been doing this, y'all.
Yeah. I'm not going to hold you too much longer. Do you have any final observations from the New York Jets and what you saw, and who do you think is going to win this football game?
Barnacles. I'm trying to think. What is another thing I saw about them that interested me?
Their DBs, their linebackers, maybe.
I think their DBs are fine. I felt like Sauce Gardner. Again, I still got to go watch some more. But I did see Stephon Diggs have some success against Sauce Gardner.
Sure.
I mean, so I think there'll be opportunities there for CeeDee Lamb. I guess is Jordan Whitehead the opposite side? No, he's a safety.
Yeah, he's a safety that Josh Allen loves to throw to that Dak is not sure.
So who's the second corner?
I'll look it up right now. Go ahead, keep talking.
No, because that's what I'm looking at is like who who on their secondary is going to be maybe the next guy to step up, because I really do think that battle between Sauce Gardner and CeeDee Lamb is going to be a little bit of a battle.
Let's take a look. See, so of course they got Gardner on one side. On the other side, they got Michael Carter. 5th round pick in 2021. Do I remember Mike Carter? I don't know. DJ Reed that came from Seattle. I remember him. Jordan Whitehead is the free safety, and Tony Adams is the strong safety. So,
okay,
Michael Carter and DJ Reed are the other guys. Yeah, we're gonna beat the shit out of them, dog.
I mean, I think it plays into the Cowboys' favor that they don't do a whole bunch. Well, mostly to Dak's favor, that they don't do a lot of exotic things when it comes to coverage. They're not trying to disguise stuff. They pretty much are straight up like, "This is what we run in. Can you beat it?" And but I will say that when they blitz, they're typically successful. So Dak is really good against the blitz. Yeah. So we'll see who wins that battle. I think that's going to be the difference maker.
We'll cross that road whenever we get there. Too easy. Tell the people where to find you at.
You can find me on Twitter at Iisha Morrison. It is Iisha with 2 I's. You can also find me on Girls Talk, Boys Talk every day, except for Friday, my bad, at 4 p.m. Central Time. And yeah, I'm around. If you guys want to touch base, speak, all that good stuff, I'm pretty cordial, so you can do that. Oh, wait. I had something to say.
Please.
Okay, this is my last thing I'm going to say. Just because I feel like a lot of people, and this is just me, I feel like a lot of people were worried about the Cowboys' run defense. Yeah. But when you look at even last year, the last 4 or 5 games of the year, I want to say, it was clear they figured something out. Also, too, talking to guys in the locker room, talking to some of the coaches, it was something they emphasized. Sure. And when you look at the last 4 or 5 games of the season, I believe they were top 5 against the run. That extended to the 49ers game where they demolished them and contained in the run. So going into this first game of the season, I know that first drive had everybody tight. Leighton Vander Esch was on Cowboys Hour with Christy, and he mentioned that they threw the tape that they watched on them. They threw out totally different alignments, totally different offensive line packages. And I think that caught the Cowboys off guard, because if you look at Dan Quinn, he went small. He went small to start that game, if I'm not mistaken. He had Chauncey
at 1 tech, yeah. Osa at 3 tech, yeah.
Yeah. Sam. He had Sam on the edge. He went small, fast, and athletic. Yeah. But immediately, once they realized, like, they're doing something different, they adjusted. They got the right guys out there, the Hankins of the world and those guys, and they were able to shut down that run. So I just wanted to point that out, because I know a lot of people are kind of panicked still about what the run defense is. Yeah. I thought that was an important piece that Leighton Vander Esch had, gave us the privilege of knowing, is like, hey, no, they changed their whole situation, and that's not what we had prepared for. But once they did, they adjusted and they were able to play the run well.
That's a good nugget, because I do think people kind of overrated that first drive a little bit. The only play that the Cowboys did get pushed around was the one when Chauncey's at damn 1 tech when he shouldn't be at 1 tech. He's a 3-5 guy. But the only run plays that really got big was like Daniel Jones running. And I don't even count that. Like, what in my mind, run plays is like a run fit on a designed run play. That's your run defense. Daniel Jones was passing.
He running from his life.
They got locked up. The wide receivers got locked up, and he's running. That's different than a run play. We didn't get pushed around. I think that's an overrated point. So thank you so much for that nugget. Appreciate you.
Yeah. Even if you go back and look at the game, I can't wait to touch base with Hankins, but he was getting held. Yeah, I mean, hard. The few times that they did lose contain from Daniel Jones, Hankins is throwing his hands up there. They're inside of his jersey. Sure. And so I know people are like, can they stop the run? I'm afraid. Man, I think they'll be fine. I think they'll be fine, especially if you have Marquise Bell and those guys slashing and making tackles in the box like that.
Yeah, we'll be all right. We'll be all right too. Don't even worry about it. It's gonna be a fun game. Did you give your prediction? You said Jets or Cowboys?
I didn't. I need a little bit more time.
Your ass walked smooth past it. I came back.
I still have not looked at the Jets offense enough to make a determination. Yeah. But
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Just
But I can't tell you how.
act like I ain't say it. Don't worry about it. Just act like I ain't say it. I do the same thing. I don't really give like predictions, but I'm just trying to, I'm having my content friends on here, so I'm just trying to have something for y'all to say. But if you don't want to give predictions, don't do it, because I wouldn't either. I would just deflect and walk away.
Anxiety. He gives me anxiety.
My fault. 2I, Iisha Morrison. That is not Lisha. That ain't Lisha.
It's not Lisa.
Yeah. It's capital I. It's capital I. Iisha.